You got it.
Are you
You got it, Chief.
serious?
I'm dead serious.
Sears is you love Sears. What the heck? What is this?
I know. That's
How is
kind of part of it.
how is that your least favorite? Oh my gosh. This is news to me, folks.
It used to
That was
be.
a joke.
No, that was not a joke. uh, you know, it used to be a store that I really liked, and I like going into it because of the convenience. Kind of in the similar way that Radio Shack was. I used to be able to go to the mall back in Gainesville, and I could actually go into Radio Shack and buy electronic component parts like capacitors and resistors, but they decided they were going to focus on the sales of cell phones, and that royally screwed them over. But uh I'm not going to talk about them because they're not really a department store. Sears, so I'm not going to go into Radio Shack though because that's not really a department store. Back to Sears, the comparison here being that, for you could go in there and you can buy, tools like power tools and hand tools and lawn equipment and, even like pneumatic compressed air powered stuff that was, decently built. Craftsman is a good brand and it's still around, and thankfully they sold that brand and now that's its own thing, and you can still get Craftsman stuff um in other places like Ace Hardware and Lowe's in particular. So you know you can also, back in the day, and I hate that I was never around to see this, but you could buy televisions at Sears. You could buy video games and maybe even computers. Um, Hell, Sears had a deal with Atari where Sears would actually rebrand some Atari products under their own line, and they'd call it the Sears Telegame system, and it's the exact same thing as a run of the mill Atari 2600, but still it's just stuff like that. The whole Sears Telegames setup, it's pretty interesting. Um, of course they sell clothes and bedding stuff, and I don't remember the clothes being that bad. I don't think they were, like what you can get from Belk or Kohl's, but they were okay. Probably on par with Target. And the reason that I say it's the worst is because of that they had such a great market share and they had a lot going for them. And personally, I feel like some of their products were a lot better than what you could get from Walmart. And, you know, the guy, I think, who was running the company kind of ran it into the ground by making poor business choices, and it forced them into bankruptcy. And you could kind of see it going downhill because you'd go in the store and, the service would be kind of crappy. Although, I will say the service at the uh, the tool department was actually fine. I didn't have an issue there, but they were kind of they didn't seem to care about their customers a lot when you went to get clothes or something. And for stuff like that, and just a lack of presence and advertising and marketing, and a lack of customer care, that stuff adds up. And you know hell, if Walmart's doing better, to me, that's sad because I would prefer Sears to Walmart, even though, you can't buy food at Sears, but, like you were saying with Macy's, you can get you know, more than just clothes and apparel, but more so than Macy's.
Yeah.
It's and just to see that the guy who owned the company, or no, he didn't own it, the CEO who made such poor choices, it really kind of makes me not have a lot of respect for that company anymore. And there, even 10 years ago, I feel like you could go to a mall or go somewhere and there was usually a Sears store that you could go to. Hell, I think even Dahlonega, Georgia had a Sears at one point, but of course that didn't make it.
Dahlonega, Georgia. Now there's just a Walmart.
Yep.
We'll be talking about that soon.
And so I used to like going into Gainesville Sears. It was kind of a nostalgic thing for me. I bought a lot of tools that I have there that I've used for automotive repair. And hell, the Sears that was at Gwinnett Place Mall, that store was pretty nice and very big. And even the Sears in Alpharetta at North Point Mall, that one was pretty nice too. Hell, the first girl I kissed, I took her on a date in Alpharetta, and we went to Top Golf. Then we just kind of hung out at the mall, and I remember what we did was she took me in the Disney store, and in return, I took her into Sears to the tool department. And it was kind of fun. And we left, and I kissed her. And now she's married.
Well,
Not to me, but that's okay. I did not want to date her. Unfortunately, she's very, very nice, very great person, but
you
at
still
the
keep in
time,
contact with her? That's what all the people want to know.
not really.
Oh, well,
I mean, I think I follow her on Instagram. That's about it.
well, that's sad.
Yeah, she, unfortunately, to me at least, I didn't think she was, my type for multiple reasons. I think she's kind of improved herself in some areas, now, and I just think that wasn't she just wasn't the one for me, but that's beside the point. For all these reasons, that's why I think Sears is probably one of the worst, because they were such a huge giant. Like, if you go back to the 80s and the 70s, going to Sears is synonymous with what we'd say about like going to Walmart or something, but that ain't the case anymore. Sears is kind of gone. The one in Athens is the only one I even know of that may even still be open anywhere near us. So, that's my worst pick. How about you?
Well, I had to do a little bit of research on this because I didn't know that this was actually a retail store.
Oh, really?
But it is. Oh, it
Oh,
is.
boy. Oh, boy.
My least favorite department store is Radio Shack.
That they consider that to be a department store.
That's what it says online. It's a retail company.
Well, all right.
But yeah.
I guess go for it.
So, kind of the same with you and Sears. I guess back in the 80s, Radio Shack used to be this once great Titan.
Yep.
But now it's
yes.
awful.
It was like a miniature version of going to Fry's.
Yeah.
At one point.
Which I don't really like. I don't really like
Pretty sick.
I don't really like fries that much either, but I mean,
Yeah, at least it exists.
yeah, like not necessarily like a guy who would make a circuit board, but
Oh yes.
yeah, but Radio Shack to me, I mean, it used to have great things, but then
It did.
but back when I was like born until like most of the locations died, and there's still locations that are still open in rural areas.
Yeah, there are still a few left, but
And
they're
there's
it's like franchised.
yeah,
It's not
and
a corporate store.
although there is a online Radio Shack that is still up,
Yeah.
and
Apparently there's a Radio Shack location 30 minutes away from me in Auburn. I may have to check that out over the weekend.
yeah, well there you go. Anywho, they're still open. They still got a like a .com website, so there you go.
They do. They got bought by Sprint, actually.
No,
That's what happened.
they got bought by General Wireless IP
Yeah.
Holdings.
There you go.
Probably Sprint. I don't know. Anyway,
Believe it is. I think so.
anywho, so I don't know. It's just the point of like, why would I want to go? Like, what is it? What is it offering me nowadays? Like, from the time I
Yeah.
was born until now, it hasn't had anything like drawing anybody to it. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
what is in there that's different from Walmart's or Amazon or anything online? Like, what is the difference? Why it doesn't have a lot of cheap products, like not cheaply made, but like cheap in price,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have a lot of it doesn't have like great customer service or anything, or like things you can't like necessarily get from other places or whatever. So why should I go to this place? You know,
Yeah.
that is the biggest question, because fries, I don't really like fries, but at least you can get like stuff to make your own circuit board where you can't go online necessarily, and it's got like a cheaper. I mean, you can go online and get it, but it's like super hard to like find the right one that you need.
No, I think it's probably the other way around, actually.
Well, never mind then.
If we're talking about, building, electrical circuits, take it from the electrical engineering major. I love Fry's for its convenience and its extreme variety of products that they sell, but you can definitely find certain parts online for as much as half the cost for some stuff. And not to mention, there are websites like there's one I like called Mouser.com, and they're based out of Texas, and they have just about anything you could imagine as far as that stuff goes. But that's all they do is they focus on, electronic components. Like they don't sell, like phones and tablets and computers and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean,
and I get where you're coming from, though.
I don't know. I mean, at least, I guess, if you are not necessarily tech, or I don't know. I don't have the right way to say this. If you like holding stuff in your hand and like knowing that this is the right thing,
Yeah.
Fry's is, at least Fry's can do that for you.
It can do that. Yeah,
Radio
you're
Shack
right.
can't do that for you.
It could, just to a lesser extent.
I
But
guess. But yeah. So,
like I said before, the biggest issue with Radio Shack was they've put too much emphasis on, the cell phone industry, and
yeah.
that's good if you want to sell cellular devices and stuff, but that wasn't Radio Shack's focus as a company. It never was,
Yeah, I remember back in like 80s commercials, they were selling like all this electronic stuff, like
They
remote
sold
control
like
cars. and all that
Yeah,
type of stuff.
they sold that up until probably the 2010s, like the early 2010s. I used to buy remote control cars at Radio Shack.
Yeah, like they were there. They just didn't like
They
promote it.
even
It was
they
terrible.
even had this one line that they actually kind of did promote, and they called them like zip zaps, I think. It's very similar to Micro Machines, if you're familiar with that. It's kind of the same idea, but
Yeah.
they had one of Herbie the Love Bug.
Yeah, I remember that. It was back in
They had
2006. I really
had
wanted that one, but
I have that one. It's still probably at my house somewhere. I got one that was like they had them for the movie Cars, like Pixar Cars. Like
oh shoot, I didn't know that.
I bought one of a Tow Mater. There's a Mater one. I'm sure there's a Lightning McQueen and a Sally. I might have had the Lightning McQueen too. I know I had the Mater one for sure.
Yeah.
Had the a James Bond, Aston Martin. They had, some other stuff, but
Anywho, it
the
just
shack is just
it's a shack now.
it's
It's literally a
just
shack.
empty. There's an empty Radio Shack in the Auburn area, and I hate it every time I see it. I'm like, man, you know, go back like 10 years, I probably could have gone to that store and bought these electronic parts that I have to order now. And
Yeah.
see, that's what I loved about Radio Shack was it was so convenient. I could go just to the mall in Gainesville, buy fuses or capacitors or diodes or whatever, and then leave. Is that simple. But
Yeah. I mean,
now I have to, if I want that, I have to either order it on Amazon and get it next day delivered, or I gotta drive to Fry's in either Milton or Duluth.
yeah. I mean,
So
there
there
was
you have it.
there's even one in Dahlonega, Georgia,
There was, yeah,
but
you're right.
all that's left is like the sign, and now it's like
Yep,
turned into this like independent pharmacy,
yep.
which no one, or a Domino's. I don't even remember. Maybe
It's a
that closed and
pharmacy.
like turned into a Domino's now.
I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
a pharmacy from what I remember.
Yeah, but now I don't know if there's a Domino's like now like right next to it, or now that's it. I don't even remember, but
Hmm.
might be a Domino's, might be an independent pharmacy. The reason why I know it's a Radio Shack is because the sign is still on there. I don't know why they haven't taken that down.
Yeah, that's common. I've seen a lot of that too. A lot of abandoned Radio Shack signs.
Maybe there's some technology that they put on there that can't people can't take the sign off. Maybe the sign was like built into the structure. I don't know.
I doubt that. It's to me, I think it's probably for financial reasons.
Maybe I don't know.
Who knows?
Anywho, that's my least favorite department store. Actually, and it's set as a retail store, so whatever.
Yeah, there you
Anywho,
go.
onward to the least favorite country songs.